Hello, I'm Dudley Thompson, and welcome again to WDT Media TV. We're here for a launch of this particular app. And before we go now to the app and how it works, let's now hear from the Minister of Mining and Transport, Honorable Robert Montague. This entrance.
Morning. 20%. Passengers in private vehicles, 19% of those fatalities. And CMC, commercial drivers, 2%. And Peter, I want you to hear this. The public passenger vehicle industry, PPV, account for only 1% of the fatalities on our roads. Yet, the popular opinion is that the worst drivers you have are PPV drivers. But the facts don't support that. And I know I hear Miss Christine laugh, and she knows what I'm going to say next. My taxi and bus drivers are not the best in the world. I will be the first to admit. And maybe sometime Mr. Boyne and Mr. Newman and Mr. Blair, they may be the cause of some accidents when they cut off people and overtake bad, but they don't crash. So people are entitled to their own opinion, but you are certainly not entitled to your own facts. And the facts are, if you look at the fatalities, the drivers in the public passenger industry account for the smallest amount of fatalities on our roads. There is always, however, I see Mr. Blair nodding him and Mr. Newman. They're not going to like what I'm going to say next. There's always room for improvement. They are at 1%, I want them to be at 0. And that is why we pay so much money to have this app. So that we will encourage better driving. So that nobody can accuse them of being the cause of any accident. I want my bus and taxi operators, drivers, to be the best in the world. So, Mr. Newman, don't believe we're not going back to enforce the uniforms. We're going to, because when I meet with the associations, Peter, they tell me that the Transport Authority is not enforcing. From January morning, we're going to be enforcing. Nobody will have any excuse. We have an app for you. This government has supported the industry. And I can go on any mountain and shout it. During the pandemic, we have offered 100% discount. In other words, the contract carriage operators never had to pay $1 last year in renewal fee because we understood that with the downturn in the tourism industry, they had licensed their buses and weren't able to carry anybody. So the government paid it for them. And in the route taxi, Mr. Boyne, your association, the government offered a 33% discount on license to help to carry this industry. So nobody nowhere cannot say that this government has not supported the PPV industry. We even give you a raise in the midst of the pandemic. People forget that. And by the way, Mr. Newman and Mr. Blair and Mr. Boyne, I have been told by Ms. Petra and Mr. Hilton that it is the first time in a long time, JC, there has been a raise in bus and taxi fares, and the drivers don't demonstrate, and the public don't demonstrate. Don't you think this minister deserves a clap for that? Because, you know, Peter, incidentally, the first time I knew that the Ministry of Transport was here, I was apart with JC in a march from halfway tree out at the ministry. Remember that day, JC? That is when I knew a ministry was here, and God knew I never knew I would be here. And nobody marched against this minister yet. Apart, well, Mr. Newman tried everything, but it never worked. But we have worked with the industry, we have consulted with the industry, we have listened to the industry, and we have balanced the demands of the industry with the demands of the traveling public. The Transport Authority, ladies and gentlemen, because I believe in technology and innovation, was the first government entity to have to offer all their services online. Long before the pandemic, we were ready. So when the pandemic hit, we were ready. And one of the toughest jobs we have had, Brother Thumbs, is to get people in the industry to go online and access the services. And we even had to charge people $10,000 if you turn up to a transport authority office without an appointment. And that was what forced people to do a lot of their transactions online. We have been so successful, and I must praise eGov. We have been so successful that today we have seen the highest number of applications and processed road license. Our target was 80,000 for the year. We are at 82,000. So we have exceeded our target.
To demonstrate how the act actually works, let's now hear from the CEO of EduFocal, Mr. Gordon Swaby.
The application is currently a web application. It will be accessible at tappvtrain.com. Come January 10, January 10, 2022, we'll be onboarding thousands of drivers on the application. And before the end of March 2022, we will have native applications on both Android and iOS. Now, when a driver goes to ppvtrain.com, entering the application is very easy. All you need to put in is your TRN number or your receipt number for your badge purchase, and you'll be able to access the application. Now, it was important that we made the app culturally relevant. I mentioned earlier that I mentioned earlier that we are partnering with a number of organizations. I won't call any names now, but let's admit, Jamaicans love prizes, we love gifts, right? Now, what this application will allow us to do, will allow the transport authority to do, is to track the performance of drivers on the application on a second-by-second, minute-by-minute basis. Any driver, thousands of drivers, they'll be able to know how that driver is performing. Now, the question you may ask is, why is that important? Now, if you're a good driver and you're using the app and you're diligently practicing for your badge exam, maybe you should win a gift, maybe you should win a reward. When you're in school and you did well on the exam, you got a gold star. Not sure if that is still happening now. That's right here. Maintaining professionalism, delivering quality customer care, and a number of other courses. Move on. So this is just a video demo of the application from the browser. So you can just watch it and I will speak while it is going. So it's a mixture of sound, video, games, right? In this particular course, for example, there is a spin game where you spin a wheel and it asks you random questions about what you've been learning throughout the course. Of course, each driver will have their own profile, so data is being collected on each driver. And where we'll eventually get to is that we'll be able to quickly identify the deficits of the respective driver and offer additional support to the driver. Of course, this is accessible from any internet-enabled device, and it is going to be zero rated on both the Flow and digital network. What I mean by that is, all you need is a smartphone. You don't need to have an active plan. You just need to have the phone and you can access it at no cost to you, right? So there will be no charges in terms of you won't need to have an active data plan, and you don't need, and if you do have an active data plan, it will not go against your data. So that is very, very important. That was a big part of it. The EduFocal team consulted with the respective taxi associations. That was an important part of it. And the main reason that the development process took so long was not necessarily the development of the app itself, but more so the content. It is taking the content that is there and refining it in a way that is culturally relevant and that the drivers can understand, right? So it is something where if you're going through a particular course and, you have to leave your house or you have to do something else, you can pause it, and when you go back to it, you'll be resuming from where you left off. Or if you want to refresh your memory, you can start over. I mentioned earlier that there's a spin game. This is a particular spin game I enjoyed. I got some of the questions wrong, but I'm also still learning, right? And again, you'll also be able to win points as a driver, points that you can use for different things or you'll be able to use for different things. You'll be winning virtual badges, and who knows, eventually, maybe we might partner with other entities to provide certification. But again, this is a 5-year tripartite agreement between EduFocal and BCIC and the Transport Authority that I'm sure will be renewed. But this is a long-term partnership that we are invested in improving. This is not a one-off thing that we're done developing the course. Course development will be ongoing, and we will be collaborating with the Transport Authority and BCIC and other stakeholders to improve the courses, have new course offerings, but ultimately the aim is for drivers to get a good understanding, a good grasp of how to conduct themselves on Jamaican roads and to have the requisite knowledge to improve their own lives and their education. Next. So I had mentioned some of the features before. I mentioned that accessible from any internet-enabled device, no phone credit needed. It is currently zero rated on the digital network, and we're about to finalize that zero rating with Flow. Interactive courses covering the entire curriculum requirements for the badge exam. Of course, we're also partnering with the Transport Authority to administer the exam itself. And of course, performance tracking and much more features will be coming soon. So again, this is something that we're very excited about. 2020 will be a big year for the ministry, for the Transport Authority, and for the entire PPV industry in general. We're excited about this partnership and we're looking forward to rolling it out. Thank you very much, everybody, and have a good rest of the day.
I'm Dudley Thompson. Please like, share, and subscribe. And again, thanks in advance.